Hey guys, it's Jess, and you're listening to With Love by Jess. A podcast about love, music, health, and wellness.
You guys are tuned in to another episode of With Love by Jess. I know you guys missed me. I hope you did, at least. But we're here at home. We're doing a Zoom live. And I have my beautiful guest, my girlfriend from all the way from Pasadena in the house. I got Hippie Urbane. She is a DJ coming out of Los Angeles, California. And yeah, want to say hi to the people?
How are you? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so delighted to have you. It's definitely an interview I've always wanted to have. So yeah, you've been on my mind. Gotta get you. We're actually one of our conversations this week during the week was a story post that we were like kind of all intertwined in. She had a really good post that was like, ooh, triggered. We need this for our Women Who Crush Wednesdays episode. So yes, this is going to be dedicated to our Wednesdays episode. It will be launching for you guys always. So you guys go ahead and check that out on my profile. So I'll be uploading that as a little gift on my page. I really don't do the whole IGTV things. Have you tried that, Star?
The IGTV, I want to, but I feel like for Instagram, you have to be extremely picture perfect all the time, and I'm not. That's
yeah.
You have to get ready for Instagram. Getting ready for Instagram became TV. So right. Now it's not, I mean, for some people, I'm pretty sure it's mindless entertainment. But I feel like if you're an artist or a creative or someone who wants to put something out there, you have to have a look. You have to like look for stuff.
I know, because it doesn't really differ, you know, like when it comes to like a music video or a photo shoot. Like it's literally that's your content. So yeah, I feel you on that. But me, I am real deal Holyfield. I've been on Instagram since 2008. I'm an OG up in this, so you already know. I've been on IG with half of my hair braided. Somebody was like, "Oh my God, Jessica, you don't care?" And I'm like, "No, am I supposed to?" Like, and they're like, "Well, I mean, your real hair is showing." And I'm like, "My real hair? Of course, I have real hair up under these braids."
Right. Like
it was just weird. It does. So IG does have like this image that you have to like keep up with, and I'm like, I'm not even about that. Like, I mean, I am, but I'm not, like, to a certain extent, you know.
Like, right. It's different. I mean, we're still navigating because this is our first time as humans really integrating with technology on this level. And we're still maneuvering how it affects us emotionally, mentally, all that, and what its purpose is and what its purpose used to be. And it's wild. It's really wild to see how it evolved from what it was, especially when it first came out. Everyone had the ugliest filters.
I know those old 2008 filters. Oh my gosh, like the ones that make you look red now.
Yeah, we thought crazy. It was the dopest shit ever. Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I loved my filters. Like, people would be like, "Why do you use filters for your photos?" And I'm like, because it gives this like creative, artsy look. And originally, that's what filters used to be.
Right. Thank you. Now filters are like, oh, why do you use filters? Like you said, why do you use filters? Like, first of all, I'm glowing, and this makes it even better. So
it's like we're our own like editors of our photos, our photography, and things like that. Like, I've always wanted to be in photography, so when IG even first came out with all the filters, I was like, oh my God, this makes the picture look so cool, because like I have that creative mind. So like I'm just like filtering it up, but never on my selfies really, but just on like everything else, like photos of flowers and things like that, because originally Instagram was supposed to be about picture blogging, and it has come a long way in these last 12 years. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
So yeah, Star is and AKA her name is, I don't know if you want me to put your government name out there like that, my bad, boo.
Anyway.
So yeah, Star, aka Hippie Urbane. She is my WCW will always be my WCW because she is a fierce queen. She is just like, she's everything because one, she's somebody who I'm inspired by because I wish I could DJ. That's something I should have gotten into a long time ago. I used to want to be a disc jockey, y'all. That is a fun fact. Jessica Rabbit used to want to be a disc jockey, and
You
because
understand
I've always
what that name is? Jessica Rabbit. I'm gonna go see Jessica Rabbit. Do you understand Jessica Rabbit in her the image herself is just dope as she is, and then you can still do it. There's no one out here named Jessica Rabbit. You can still do it.
I know, right? That's dope. Give me some lessons. I'm gonna hit you up.
Okay.
Talk.
Yes.
Because I know it's funny because another comrade of yours, what's his name? Oh, why did I freaking blank? Sorry, Nap 2000. Yeah, he was gonna beat my butt. He's like, wait, whoa. You know, I haven't been in touch with everybody in a long time, so it's like
it's like that. I'm starting to forget people's names too. I'm like, oh,
this quarantine, y'all. So he kind of taught me a little bit on the ones and twos a little bit, and it's so crazy because I was like the first time I ever did it, and I'm like, I know all these DJs and beat makers. My son's dad is a producer. Like, I know all these people that make music, and that's been my passion forever, and I literally have not tinkered around with it. And so that was like last year was my first time, and I was like, wow, like it's so crazy. But maybe it's because my resources are always so low and I don't like asking people for help, which I'm trying to get past. So
man, that's a real thing too. Like, I've always wanted to learn certain things and I never asked people because just pride. You know?
Yeah.
Pride is wild. But I mean, there's a time for everything. You know, when it's your time to get into DJing photography, it's gonna be your time and you're gonna soar.
Yeah. So when did you first get into DJing? Like, how young were you? How young were you when you knew, like, that's what I want to do?
You know what? I guess I'll say how I got into DJing. I went to go live with my grandmother after college. I was freshly 22. And she lives in Palm Springs. And Palm Springs, if anyone knows, is a desert town. And there's really nothing to do unless you're right. And, you know, you can't party 24/7. So I went to go live with her and just to help her out around the house. And I'm the oldest grandchild, so hey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, that's wild.
Yeah. So I went to go live with her and help her out. And at that time, obviously, I wanted a job, and I got a job at the local mall. Shout out, you know, Palm Desert Mall, Forever 21. that was.
Oh, you used to work for Forever 21?
I used to work for Forever 21.
I did too.
Oh my gosh!
Back in 2008, that was my year.
Mine was 2015, 16. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a time. Fun.
That's funny.
So in that mall, there was a creative space. It was called Make. And shout out to Sarah. I can't say her last name. I don't want to butcher it, but shout out to Sarah, and she's the head of the Coachella Valley art scene. Shout out to shout out to DJ Amavita, who actually taught me. So when I walked into this place called Make, it was like an art gallery, and it was an art gallery mainly for like kids, because it's the summer and like, you know, kids they don't really have much to do out there. And so I walked in and met DJ Amavita, met Sarah, thought it was so dope, and she had a turntable, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're a DJ, and we just connected and clicked, and she taught me how to DJ. I was taught by a female DJ, which I think that was pretty dope.
That's dope.
Yeah,
man. I remember back in the day, one of my homegirls from high school, she started doing it right after high school. And I was like, what? Like, I would have never thought that was her passion. But she was pretty dope forever. She was like doing everybody's house parties and just like really like live events. So she was the first female. Shout out to Ashley Brown. She was the first female that I know that did DJing. And it was like super inspiring even then. But of course, in my younger mind, that's what I would always tell myself. You know, like there's those things that you wish you could just tell your younger self, like, don't be afraid, like just step out. And doubt has always been my biggest battle.
Yeah.
Like doubt was always like, I couldn't do that. Like knowing in my mind though, I sit in my room like ever since I was a little girl, like literally making beats in my head. Beats still come to me in my head. Like I'm always like baby Kanye in my mind. I'm like, like, and then writing it down, like forgetting the verse or the chorus I wanted to do and stuff like that. Because I'm like always like thinking I have to have like these tools. I have to have a beatbox. I have to have, you know, an 808. I gotta have all these things, and I just never did it. And that's one of the reasons why it discouraged me from making music, because I was just like, my parents aren't gonna help me fund this. No, like I was just always so down about myself, like thinking that I could just never do it.
I feel the same. Honestly, I feel the same way about producing. Like I've attempted, I didn't have all the equipment and all kinds of stuff. But actually the other day, I actually made a sample. We flipped, shout out, he's not known, he's my friend, but like shout out to Timothy the Don, because I'm just helping him with rapping, and he's making beats, and we flipped Weak by SVW.
Oh,
so we just
tight.
So I'm excited for that. And
I can't wait.
It's really fun. And like you said, like I thought the same thing. Like music is supposed to be a hobby, but it's an expensive hobby. And my family's not gonna, hey, well here's a a $500 turntable, and here's an $800 CDJ, and here's $500 for just download Logic Pro X. And no. This is something you take on your own. It's a very individualistic thing to pursue. It's really on your own. I mean, there are people out there who actually do support, but for the most part,
yeah. I know we don't really come into that support group until we find our vibe tribe, so that's where I'm, and y'all know I'm not afraid to tell my age. I'm about to be 32 years old this year, and I literally just found my tribe, my music, my collective, my creative tribe last year, which was so dope. Like I had already been in the midst of it for like 4 years, but to be in it, like in the grind, to be around other artists and things like that, that was like last year where it blew up. It was just like my glory year. I was just like, oh, I'm finally around people who get it. I'm finally around people who are also encouraging others. It's like a community. Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful community that like they help each other when it comes to their musical aspirations. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to even let my age be a thing, because I'm not really one to get caught up in age. Like I acknowledge my age, but I'm not like, oh, I'm just too old for it. I've never believed in that, except for the singing part, because I'm like, I might be a little too old to be Beyonce right now.
Oh, come on. You can sing.
I'm like, I might be a little too old to pull off them Beyonce moves with my little busted knee, y'all. I used to be an athlete, so I can't do a lot of things anymore.
It's all good. No, I mean, also, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this ageism that we have when it comes to certain things. Like, I feel like there's so much pressure to be certain things by certain ages. Like, I noticed now, I was actually talking to my friend recently, and he was like, well, I'm 28. Well, I'm 28. I'm almost 30. I'm old. Like, he just like shut like down. And I'm just like,
aww.
Why is 30 our cutoff point? Why is 25 our cutoff point? Why is 35 or 45 or certain things? Like, why do we say, well, this is that age, it's over? Over for what?
Society. Bullshit ass government and media and all that other crap that kind of twists and turns everything every other decade. It's just like, we do have those like standards. It's like this, like, it's not even like a rule that they put into anybody's like life manual. It's just really just what comes with it. And it's so crazy because the music industry does that. And that's one of the reasons why I've always been kind of like anti-music industry a little bit. Like, I'm like, okay, like I definitely love and support all my friends who want to be in the music industry one day, or even the ones that are. I know a lot of people that are in the music industry as well. Mm-hmm. But it's just not my thing, because it's too much telling someone what they have to do, or telling them the expectations that they have to, exceed before a certain amount of time or age. And I feel like music is just so free. It should never be limited. It should never be told like, oh, you know, like even with Cardi B, they're saying like, oh, she barely made it. She's like 25 years old, 20. Well, she's 26 now or something like that. They're like, she barely made it.
Like 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, like that's crazy. And she looks beautiful. She's young, so it's like okay, well, shit. Like if you look good and you barely just popped up your first baby and all this other stuff, like you should still be able to be a poppin' ass star, like at 30 years old. You know, like
exactly.
I don't know. I just feel like I missed my mark. That's all I'm saying. Like I just like jam, because like when I was a kid, it was that fear. It was always the doubt. Like my doubt is like my biggest demon. It was always my biggest demon, and it still tries to come and haunt me every once in a while. Even though I feel like in my mind I've accomplished and defeated it, but I was just like, that was like the worst thing, because like I went to school I used to go to Citrus College. I don't know if you know the college. Yeah. So I used to go there, and I was doing engineering. So I wanted to be the next Missy Elliott, because like I was like, well, I can't be Kanye per se, but because he's a guy. But I'm like, Missy, that's my other guru. So I was like, I was gonna be the next Miss Elliott. I was gonna do all these things, and yeah, life deferred.
I mean, stuff happens.
I had my son. I had my baby, which I love to death, but I was just like, man, I'm a mom now. Like, who's gonna invest in my future as a musician? Like, what is that? Like, what is that anymore? And it was crazy because like all my boyfriends and his dad, they were all into music. My ex before that was a rapper and did beats. My son's dad, like I've always been around the collective in some sort of way. Like I've always met people in that shape or form, but my dream is always being pushed back, and while others were like still pursuing their stuff. So I became a supporter of the music. With my music intellect and my knowledge and my savviness about like, you know, music, I've just used that to propel myself in a different platform. So I'm like, since I am knowledgeable and I have the music inclination, I'll just be someone's support group, because I'm good at helping people, you know, push them for their dreams and inspire them. So I was like, I'm gonna just make a living off of that, which I'm trying to get into A&R. So I was like, if I can get into that or be the next biggest A&R, like The Godfather, that's my goal. I could do that.
You were telling me about that when I first met you. Like you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
Memory trigger. That's so dope.
Yeah. Have you seen that documentary, The Godfather?
The documentary or the movie?
It's like, oh no, the documentary, girl. It's called the Black Godfather. You guys check it out. It's on Netflix. It is the bomb.
Where is it? Because I need to watch
it. I was like, that's me the whole time. That's me.
Oh man, you know
his name is Clarence, I think. Clarence. Yeah, Clarence. And he's like, he's heavily connected in the music game, but he does like on a business savvy tip. So which is so crazy, because I'm always giving people ideas and stuff, like how they should take their music and what clubs they need to perform at and all that other stuff. So he basically does that. And I've been kind of doing that. So I was just like, oh my God, like I could be like the next him if I really put my mind into it. Like, and I am trying to be, but
wait, what's it called? The Black Godfather?
Yep.
Okay, bet, because I'm going to watch that now. I watched Quincy Jones' documentary, and that was amazing.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. Wait, I did start. I started, but I didn't finish it. I'm in love with that man.
That man. I mean, I think because of his age now, he's old. It's crazy. He's worked with so many great people, and unfortunately, a lot of them pass or are passing. And he's still standing. It's just wild, the stuff that he's made, the stuff that he's seen, the stuff. It's insane, and it's brilliant. This man is so brilliant. But he also is like, he tells people his business now. Like one of the funniest interviews I think was for Vanity Fair. Look up his interview for that, because he started telling the business.
Airing out.
Business. It was funny.
I mean, I guess in his right, he might feel like he's entitled to do so, which is fine. But I mean, dang, like
people were
gonna be like the next Wendy Williams.
People were, but the thing is, like, it wasn't messy. He wasn't trying to start shit. He wasn't trying to start anything. It it is what it is. Like, it was just the truth.
It's like things we didn't know.
Yeah, it's just stuff that you just didn't know unless you were there or you like knew them personally. And I think people got mad because he started speaking on like, these were his friends, right? These were his friends, like Frank Sinatra, you know, Richard Pryor, all those people. And he just started airing out their business.
Man, R.I.P. to the late, great Richard Pryor, man.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing,
yeah. Oh, that
amazing.
story was intense. Like,
yes.
His dynamic, I did not realize. I was like, wow.
His story is to me, in so many ways, is very parallel to my other favorite comedian, which is Jim Carrey. Like, they both had these, like, split personality type things, like where we didn't know what was really going on in their family dynamic, but they showed up on the stage and just acted an ass. And that was what I feel like fuels people. Like, I mean, just like in music, you have a bad breakup. You were in a 5-year relationship, but then it just ended. And then it gives you the best content to write a song. And so I feel like with the comedians, it was like that. Things like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty, Richard Pryor was intense.
Yeah.
That was an intense story.
Yeah, I found out like stuff about, I think there was like a lot of stuff going on with his like son, and like there was like, I was like, what? What the stuff that happened? The only thing about that,
I need to watch it again.
That back then, like, you can live your life on the low and nothing come out till years later. Now everyone's thrown out, like, you know, World Star, Snapchat, OnlyFans, like, you know, just all this stuff is going on. Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy. I'm very anti-progression, which kind of, it backfires on me a lot, because I'm like, I could be a lot more tech savvy, but I've kind of cut myself off like via 2017, 18, where I was just like, I'm not jumping into the tech world anymore. I'm over it. I'm just going to leave everything behind. And so now I feel like a grandma of the game. So I'm like,
I'm starting to get there. Trying to
figure out all this stuff. Don't lose it though. That's my advice. Don't feel like you're too above it, because what I could have easily done is continue to still live a simplistic lifestyle, but then also still continue to learn the things. Like, I'm getting back into it again, and some people are like, oh, I'm gonna help you do this, I'm gonna help you do that. And I'm like, okay, great, because I really need it. But I'm like, I should have never stopped, because I am a millennial, and I think that's like my gift. I feel like millennials are the Earth's greatest gift, and I feel like we do need to hone in on that a lot, because like, what year were you born? You were born 93.
So I feel like
93. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're definitely the cusp of generations prior to us who didn't have all this technology, and this current generation where technology is just a part of your life. And I think us, we're just like the middle child, and we're like we're all trying to figure it out. Like these kids are just like, they know. They're so integrated into technology, so integrated as to their age. Some of us had technology, but most of us could live without it. Like, we were fine without it. We still saw our friends, we still hung out, we still dated, you know, did what we wanted to do, but
we're on the video game only for a couple of hours and got off without having issues.
Exactly. And if you had to talk shit about someone online on MySpace, you had to do it at home. Or if you had a sidekick.
Right.
You know, and not everyone had that. So it's kind of like
the good old days.
You had to wait for it to.
Those were the good old days.
That's so crazy.
I swear. Yeah, it's pretty wild. What do you think? So I want to ask you, what do you think about the whole 6ix9ine situation?
Oh,
specifically, do you believe? Because I gotta bring it up.
Yeah,
I've been like trying not to talk about it that much, because I'm like, I just be laughing. I be on the internet laughing my butt off. I'd be like, oh my gosh. I was like, we already know a lot of the things that he's doing now is just to troll people, to keep his name relevant. We know that. But in your opinion, do you believe in 2020 we still should have the street code snitch? Like, if you're a snitch, you're classified as a rat and you should be banned or whatever.
Okay. I think honestly, because of the culture that I was raised in and around, being, you know, I feel like in LA we have a code, and not just in LA, but as a culture, as Black people, we have a code. And like, I'm honestly shocked that he's still alive, to be really, really honest with you. Like, because I'm not a banger. I'm not from the hood, but you know, I have acquaintances, you know, and some of my family members have been in that lifestyle, and that life, and just by code, like, I'm really surprised he's still alive. Like, I'm surprised he didn't even get in prison. That's my whole. And then that to me, I'm just like, well, what's the code? What's the code now? Like, what?
I feel like he was protected in prison. Like, a lot of people were trying to make it seem like he wasn't. I don't think, like, we didn't see it. We didn't see the footage. And if anything, we probably see him being walked from somewhere. But I don't believe that he was around your general population, because that would be insane.
He probably wasn't. Yeah.
And then you're gonna try to walk out acting like he was so hard. Like, boy, I don't know. It's funny to me because I share the same sentiment. I grew up in the hood. My family is a part of a well-known organization in Compton, California. Mm-hmm. And you growing up in the streets, you can't be just snitching on everybody. I know my mom used to talk about, she would always tell me, because there would be something always going on in Compton and on our block, like every time. So it would be like cops and news reporters, the media would be there, everything. She would always tell me and look me and my sister in the eyes, don't, see no evil, hear no evil. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly the code that we didn't care what it looked like. We didn't care, honestly, till a certain point in my life, though. There was a couple of times where I had a position. I felt like I was responsible for something. Mm-hmm. Where I seen two guys on two different occasions, like, practically beating on this girl. And so with me, that was like a hard thing to process, because I've always believed, okay, I didn't see that. Mm-hmm. That's not for me to address. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't be calling the cops. That's weird. Mm-hmm. But of course, like, even when I was a younger girl, I've always been like very pro women all together and things like that. So, like, as I got older, it just didn't get any better, because I was just like, I felt like I was like the superwoman of everything. And then I was just like, man, I was in a hookah bar one night, and my homegirl was like, girl, you better leave that alone. And I seen this young guy, and he was a pimp, a wannabe pimp, because he was young and shit. I knew he was young, because I was like, I know people's ages just by the way they look. Yeah. So I was like, well, look at him trying to be in the game. And, you don't know nothing about that game. Like, that life is like all these kids. I don't know if you remember, but back in like 2015, 16, 17, all these young kids started trying to be pimps and pimping hoes and all that stuff. And it was like so clouded and convoluted. But I was like, dude, like, you don't even know the real street code. Because first of all, he in a real establishment, like we was at Hollywood Hookah. And he was like caressing this girl, like yelling at her, about to hit her in front of everybody. And I think he even did, like, he like grabbed her up, like snatched her up. Mm-hmm. And immediately I was about to stand up and be like, hey, homie, like,
what's up? What are you doing?
Like, yeah, like when I step out, I'll be looking all flashy and cute. And I'm like, don't let me turn on the gangster real quick, because I'll pop your earrings off and give it to you, because I don't care. Like, I mean, back in middle school, I remember the first fight I ever had was with a dude in middle school. It was in middle school. And then I had another one. And I've always manhandled men a little bit in that way when they were disrespectful to me or my counterparts, which were women. So I don't buy that. I'm not into all that. So it was very weird to see another woman tell me, like, oh, hey, chill, like, let him handle that. Like, first of all, I'm not gonna let no grown ass man hit on no grown ass woman in the store. I don't care what the situation is. Like, it just felt weird. Mm-hmm. And so even at that time, I was just still watching. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should chill, because I was getting mad seeing it. But he tamed down for the most part. And I was just giving him these crazy eyes. Like, he seen me. We locked eyes. And I was looking at him like, yeah, like,
Like, what's up? Like,
So, if you put your hand on that female, I don't care if that's your hoe or not. You put your hand on that female, I'm gonna drag you out here by your ear like a mama or something. Like,
right.
I mean, I would have did so much more to him, but then again, like, kids like that, which he was a kid in my eyes, he might have been no more than 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Kids like that, in my eyes, they just need someone to school them on the snitching and all that other stuff. Like 6ix9ine, it was so appalling to me to see that he was around all those gangbangers, but nobody ever was just like, this is street code.
Right.
I'm like, but then again, I always been like, my thing about 6ix9ine since day one, when I seen this little rainbow headed fool like gang banging in that first video, I was hype off that first video. I was like, all right, like, who's this little white boy? Like, you know, he was shit. Find out he was Mexican. I was like, oh,
yeah, and it was like,
I was cool with him at first, but then I was just like thinking all the time, I was like, you all around all these bloods, you guys got guns in your thing. I was like, something don't even seem right with that. Mm-hmm. And my logic about it was a little different from everybody else's. Of course, it seemed like he might have been buying his crew. But then I'm like, that's not really his crew. I've always felt that. And so my compassion for him, even on this go round, since he's been released out of jail, is that he was around a bunch of fake niggas. Mm-hmm. To be honest, like, I feel like his justification for his snitching was that, okay, they weren't loyal to me. They did a lot of shady stuff to me. They ratted me out. They slept with my women. They stolen things from me. They took my money. They did all this weird stuff. Mm-hmm. And in the wake of him going and getting caught up in jail and stuff like that, and all his court dates, you had people airing him out and talking about how he really ain't from the hood and this and the other. I felt like there was like a double standard going on with his snitching situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to, like, you know, I feel like I'm a real OG. So even when people are like, I feel like there's all these guys out there like, oh, I'm real, I would never snitch. And I'm like, nah, I don't buy that for anything, because if you were even in his position, especially knowing the people that you was dealing with, you more than likely would have snitched too. Stop trying to act like you wouldn't.
Yeah,
or some people are so sneaky, they know that the situation is so drastic, they'll wait for their time to get out and shoot someone or kill them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but 6ix9ine ain't about that life. He's not a real shooter, so we know that.
Exactly. I think I was actually having this conversation with my mother this morning, like literally this morning. I think this generation of people right now, I feel like the time that we're in right now, I shouldn't say this generation. In the time that we're in right now, I feel like it's so image obsessed and image based. I notice this about kids. People will put up an image and they'll run with it, and then they'll build an audience. But the thing is, the audience has a relationship with the art or whoever this person is. And when you have a relationship, you want honesty, right? Just like most people.
Yes.
And this is where celebrities and rappers and everybody gets caught up and they fall, because they're not being real and they're claiming to be real, or they're not keeping up with the image, because people have a relationship with them. You have a relationship with your audience. These are the people that are supporting you. These are the people that are giving you money. This is the people that are supporting your lifestyle and all of this. So, you know, why you have to really, really pick and choose who you want to be, who you want to present. You can either be yourself and be cool and be solid in yourself and not care, and people, you know, they'll be okay with it. Or if you're going to have an image, keep that image up. Keep that image.
That's all I'm saying.
Keep that
people
image
lie to themselves every day. It's not that hard. But then it comes down to, it's just so much easier just being genuine and being real. You don't have to be what you're not in order to make it. Right.
So, but, you know, we see all these people all the time. Oh, well, this person, you know, obviously 6ix9ine, and so many other people that are just constantly getting aired out because it's not real. And then we have, you know, social media. People tell about themselves all the time. People are always telling you about themselves. And even though we're all blinded by the flashiness of the Instagram and the rings and the cars and, you know, just the image, the followers, whatever they have going on, but in reality, sometimes, you know, it's smoke and mirrors. And that's where it's like, an audience need to be like, okay, you know, this is not real.
Right. It really is a facade, and it's so crazy because our newer generation doesn't they can't even really see that. They can't decipher it for themselves because their way of music and the media and pop stars and rappers and hip hop is changed from when we grew up. We had the iconic duos and we had the iconic beefs like, you know, Tupac and Biggie, to where we knew that was some real shit. That's not just playing the media to get likes and clout. It was real stuff going on, and so these kids are like all like into it, and that's why it's a little appalling to see a lot of people. It's funny because I go through some of the blogs just to kind of get the perspective of the people, and I see a lot of people are bandwagoning for 6ix9ine, or they already are diehard fans and never been switched up, and I'm just dang, like that's where it goes to the other side of like, man, like you really into this fake person. It's a fake, it's a facade. And it's crazy because he's getting all this money from his record deals and the fact that he's on Billboard charts and things like that, and he's getting this fame and this recognition. But to be looked at as what you are now, like you're fake, you're not even a good rapper. Like me, I think I fell into like the newer generation of music was just like cool for the beat. Like I just like because there's no more conscious rap. There's no more like, you know, mainstream anyway. You know, a lot of people that put out amazing music.
Yeah, we know people put out amazing music. We know them. We know them personally.
Girl, we know them people. We
know these people.
But the mainstream kind of sucks right now because we still got a lot of mumble rap, and there's a couple people that's coming out that's pretty dope. That's in the new generation, but it's just really not the same. It's changed so much. And I
think hip-hop like got commercialized, like it became mainstream. And I personally, to me, I feel like there's a space in hip hop for different things. Like there's a space for mumble rap. Sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I could get this trap, or you know, there's a space for consciousness. There's a space for turn up, ratchet, like let's go. There's a time and a place. But I think the fact that hip hop, quote unquote, I'm gonna put air quotes on hip hop because I don't feel like that really is hip hop, but hip hop became mainstream. It became commercialized, you know, business. I mean, do you remember like when we were growing up, hip hop really wasn't in commercials?
But conversation's been great, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to you know, sit down and just chop it up with me about a little bit about everything.
Thank you.
But let's see. Yeah, if you guys want to go on over to her Instagram, let the people know about your Instagram page where we can find you and your music and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Hippie Urbane, HIPPIE URBANE. You can find me on Instagram like that. You can also find me on SoundCloud. You can find me on Mixcloud as well. I have it under another name because I went through so many names throughout my life and I need to fix them all. But yeah, Instagram. That's me.
So, yeah, so that's really good. I'm really excited. She just put out a project and it's called Bubble Gum Kush.
Hey.
Y'all ain't never had Bubble Gum Kush anyway. Y'all lame. I'm just joking. You don't gotta know about that Bubble Gum Kush to get up on this. But yes, it is a vibe. It's popping. I love it. She also has other projects on Mixcloud. If you guys go on to Mixcloud, she has other projects that I've checked out in the past. Those are dope. But this one is literally like 2020. It's definitely the vibe. Like, catch that. It's really phenomenal, and I appreciate you for your artistry and who you are and your musical ear and your talent. Like, you're just the bomb, girl, and you know it. You know it.
I mean, like creating like Bubblegum Kush. I actually started this project like a little under a year ago, and it was an idea I had just randomly, and I was okay. We're just gonna put this out there. Look, I smoke, bro. And I had an idea of like, hey, I should just name one after a strain. Like, why not? And let's just have it originally it was supposed to be an ode to soft trap, and I was really into like this soft trap, like shout out to like Father, like he's a rapper that I love.
Yeah.
And Sensei, I don't know how to say her name, Sensei Molly, some like Rico Nasty, like a whole bunch of people that, you know, they just rap about just wild stuff, and I thought Bubblegum Kush was just like, it's fun, like you want to have fun. I did like a little photo shoot for it, and it was such a fun project to put together. Unfortunately, like certain things in life like delayed the project, and then even coming to my own battles of like how you said, doubt, insecurity, all kinds of stuff. I battled that too, because I was like, well, you know, I don't like this and I don't like that. What about these pictures? I don't like the way, you know, certain things. And then one day I was like, you know what? Forget it. Like let's just put it out there. Let's just do it. So I did.
Yep.
And did it.
That's it.
It received so much love. In
the words of Lisa James, the Queen Lisa James, she always says it, just do it, just do it. Like, I promise you, like, that's always going to be, she's like a muse to me in a sense, 'cause I got tons of them. But she was always encouraging me about that, because like with us, since we have the similarities in the self-doubt department, it's just like I always tell, and it's weird because I always tell people this. I always say closed mouths don't get fed. And it's a way of saying, like, how will you ever know if you never try? Exactly. If you just never do it. Exactly. You know, like and even if you get like 20 people who say they think your project is trash, there's going to be 40 other people on top of that that's going to be like, that shit was fly. Gives a shit about the other 20 people. We don't care about them. We care about the other traction that we get. And that's really what it is all about. It's like putting yourself out there and just being vulnerable with your creativity. Your creativity is really, man, it's gifted. It's gifted to you. It's what we consider our passion and our purpose in life. So absolutely. I always say that is really our number one reason why we're here, is to exude that. We're supposed to give off what God gave us. And if we hold that in, we're not doing him any justice. It's just like a ungrateful child when your mom buys you a birthday cake and then you're like, oh, I didn't want that. Like, what? Like, a birthday cake, it's supposed to be a celebration for your birthday. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, maybe that's not your cup of tea, and I don't know, that was the best metaphor for it. But even
I totally got it. No, I definitely get it. I feel like, you know, you come to this plane that we call Earth, and you come into this body and you are equipped with, you know, your angels and your demons, and it's up to you to figure out what you're going to do with that. I feel like everyone is here for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences. I feel like everyone has a gift in some sort of way, whether it's creative, math, something. It's always something. And then it doesn't even have to be something big and creative. It could be, someone could be destined to be the best parent. Someone could be destined to be the best chef. Someone could be destined to be the best dog owner. I mean, I don't know. It's to varying degrees. So
I always tell people, like, you weren't really put on the earth to be just a parent. Like, because I've heard this before, and someone dear to my heart that actually said that, because I was like, that's crazy, because I know that as humans, we shouldn't take having children for granted at all. Like that, you know, because some people just can't. Yeah. But even then, it is our natural born right that's what we are put on this earth to also do as well, is to procreate, you know, to reproduce and to bring new life. And that's what our vessels do, to populate the earth in his intent, and that's what he wants to do. But like you said, to be the best parent. Now, to be the best parent, it also unlocks certain things that you would do for other people, like your nurturing skills. How you can be the best parent to your child, but it also will be it will be like a mirror to how you treat other people on the street. Like, you know, and just like your elders, because I think even with babies and, you know, babies, even like anytime you have a child, but babies into older folks, like they are literally treated the same in a sense, because when you're a baby, you don't really know how to do much, so you help them and you nurture them and you love on them and you show them the way. And then by the time you're older,
they already have all the knowledge and things like that, or maybe they don't, or whatever their crisis is, if they have Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever situation, they still become dependent. And so even as a parent, when you're the best parent, you're teaching your children how to be good parents, and then it's a ripple effect, and then it just shows compassion, care, love, things that naturally need to be done. And it's sad because I always think about those people who don't want kids, or they have kids and they don't want them, or they choose drugs, or they do other things to act like taking care of a life isn't the greatest. So yeah, like you're right. Like you could be on this earth to serve that purpose, because it is inevitably showing someone else how to love and nurture someone else. That's what we really need to get down to. We need to get into spreading love and making that as an infectious situation as possible, like the coronavirus. We need to do love like it's a virus. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then also too, like whatever you're quote unquote destined here to, whatever you're put on earth for, like life and the universe is gonna throw you a series of obstacles and tests to see like what you've learned. And like, because I feel like we're here to evolve to be our best self as well. And like it's like parenting, like if you're destined to be like a good parent, it's gonna be challenging. You're gonna be challenged. What are you gonna do when your kid you're faced with an issue with your kid, when you're not getting along with your kid, or something's going on with your kid, or like or how do you react when sometimes I've read that when people have kids, you have to face yourself, and that's hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Patience is my number one advice. I've always given that, and it's crazy because like I had some girls in a group chat that we were just on through my church, and that was one of her struggles in the quarantine. And I'm like, wow, that's so crazy, because every baby shower I've ever given, every person that I know that's had kids, that's like my only number one rule is to practice patience. Because to bring a child in the world, that's literally something that we need. Like it's more that we need even before love, I think. And I always tell people like love is super huge to me, and that's why I have my platform. It's like to spread love everywhere, each and every way.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to relationship, that's ultimately the important part. In relationship, we have to develop certain skills, and patience is definitely one of them. Even with a counterpart, with a lover, with a boyfriend, husband, whatever it is, like we have to practice patience, because everybody is on a different learning curve, or everybody has a different trauma, everybody has like different circumstances in their life. So patience is like key, and especially in bringing up children, because every kid does come out different, and that's like huge. And because on those days where you're just not going to understand how to like feed their needs or anything like that, it's like you're gonna probably go crazy if you don't have that.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like before you do even become, stuff happens. I mean, obviously, like stuff happens. Kids get born, and some people are just thrown into parenthood, and it's a sink or swim kind of thing. And people that I know have swam. They, and they won the race. But it comes down to like, you have to, in order to exercise patience, you have to do it with yourself. In order to exercise love, you have to do it for yourself. And that's where
For real.
And that's where when it comes into a relationship, and we're going to talk about that, that's what I said about the question thing. You learn, if you're going to be in a serious relationship with someone else, you're taking on someone else's baggage. You're taking on their emotion, like how you mentioned, their baggage, their trauma, their quote unquote good qualities or quote unquote bad qualities. Can you handle that? Can you even handle that in yourself?
Yeah.
How are you going to accept that if you don't accept it in yourself? Patience.
Exactly.
And
then that's crazy, because some people are actually looking for someone to take on that for them, because they can't take it on themselves.
Exactly.
That's so real.
Terrible. That's not, I mean, for me, in my opinion, I don't think that's great, because
it's not. it's not healthy.
It's not healthy. You're going to be
not healthy.
You're using other people as
it's not conducive to relationships and
Exactly. You're using other people to do the work for you, or you're trying to avoid it. And it's like, no, when people make their husbands or their wives or whoever their world, their entire world, like, you can make your child your world, but you also have you too. But when people start, putting their world and all of them into that person, then they start having these expectations of those said people. Like, you know how we see like these stage moms, like these even not even just stage moms, these, like, if you've seen these kids, these dads with their sons when it comes to sports, sometimes they live vicariously through their sons or their daughters, or people end up living vicariously through other people, and when those people don't perform to how they want, then they lose it. That's not healthy. That's not good. You have to be solid within yourself. You had your time. You had your moment to shine or do whatever you want to do and all that. And let your kid be a kid. Yeah, if he wants to do football, cool. But don't, integrate. He's still his own person at the end of the day. Same thing like a relationship. You got to be your own person.
I'm really glad that you said that, because I do, like, I talk to a lot of people, and I always say I've talked to thousands of people, and like, even these conversations come up, and some people don't realize that. And I felt like that was even a situation with the homegirl that I had, was hearing her story. One of the things that I learned about having a child young, and this was a big ups for me, and I felt like it was crazy because it was something I didn't want to happen, because I had all my whole life planned to me, but I also had to understand how to be an adult and grow into my adulthood, because I was 18 years old when I was pregnant. So I had to grow up in my adulthood and also learn how to raise a baby. In that, it seemed to be easy at first, because I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, it's so easy, like, I get to have my own little Cabbage Patch doll, like, that's kind of what we like, especially as women, like, men too, they have the same admiration for their children when they're born. They're like, oh my God, I got a little baby and I get to take care of this thing. And it seems to be so surface almost.
Yeah.
But I thank God for my gynecologist. I thank God for that woman and that man, because they taught me some things that, it's crazy, because I think some people look at me like, oh, I was a young mom and I was, I like to go out and stuff like that. So some people don't even look at me to be a reputable person when it comes to knowledge as a kid, which I don't, me, I don't care. I just be like, all right, y'all just learn on your own. Like I had to learn on my own. Right. That's fine. But one of the greatest things that she taught me is that because I was 18, I also needed to have my own mind. I needed to take care of my own body. I needed to take care of my own sanity. And I watched it to where all my other girlfriends around me, every year, some new girlfriend would get the baby and this and the other. And they would all slip into postpartum depression, including my sister. How I defeated that and never had it happen, it's not a pick and choose thing. It's not like something that, oh, some people just get it and some people don't. You will get it if you confide yourself to that role as a mother. Then when you get that mother role, because we're so traditionalized, we have to be home with the baby 24/7, we can't keep our eyes off of it, it has to be this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the third. My gynecologist was like, no, when the baby gets a little older, you can be with him now, like, that's fine. I think my son was 4 months the moment that I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a weekend trip with my girlfriends. I asked her and everything if that was okay. She was like, girl, yes. I was like, okay. I went out, I think it was like a day and a half. I wasn't even gone for the whole weekend because I wasn't even old enough to go to Vegas yet. But even at that time, I was like, doing things. I would allow myself to go out with my other girlfriend who wanted to go to lunch. If I wanted to go to lunch, I would ask my son's dad, like, okay, hey, spend time with the baby. She encouraged that behavior because she was like, you don't want to spoil baby. You just don't. Where you're always just
Yeah.
Oh, baby. And then, of course, when they're all crying, you get frustrated because that's really the start of postpartum depression because you feel like that's literally your life. Like, that's it for me. I don't have a life. She was always like, just take a ride take a ride on your bike, read a book, and I was very fortunate. And I know a lot of women aren't, but, I do feel like there's help there in certain aspects. But I was fortunate to have a village raise my son, where I did have his grandmothers, and I had his aunt, my sister, I had people, and of course his father in his life. So it was like I had those outlets to where I can just step away because I needed that. And the trouble that I seen with my homegirl was like, dang, I don't want to be judgmental, so that's why I try to keep my mouth shut sometimes, because some people perceive it as that, especially coming from a younger person, because I'm a younger mom. They're older, so I didn't want to be like, oh, well, you could do this and this and the other, because then they're probably feeling a little insecure that they're not doing something right as a parent, and I felt bad about that. So I noticed that with her, it was like she didn't allow herself to have much time outside the baby. And then she works like 12-hour shifts at the hospital. So she was just working and then going home, doing the regular mom thing, like, oh, making sure your baby has food, making sure your baby has toys, making sure your baby, just doing everything on the outside surface. And their relationship looks like they have like the best bond ever too. And so that's not a thing that she doesn't have a bond with her kid, but it was just like the other parts of it. When you, just like in our relationships, when you love yourself and you love on yourself, you take care of yourself, you look good, you're taking care of your hair and all those other things, you attract that type of love. And then you with your kids, you put that on them. So it's like they mirror you. They are going to mirror you because they're looking at everything you're doing.
Yeah.
So instead of looking for attention and acting rough or bad or wailing and, freaking out because, running around the house and doing bad things, they will be a little bit more peaceful to go to mommy about certain things, because then they see how mommy takes care of herself. And I felt like that was her thing where she could have, and I know I'm talking on my Zoom, and I know a lot of moms are probably watching this, but it definitely helps to have your own self when you're having these children, and then being able to show them that independence, because it will reflect on your children so much. And then too, they won't become so needy. They won't become so dependent on everything, because as children, just like we know from the time we're born, we learn things, and we're supposed to continue to grow and learn things. And that's how things get accomplished. So yeah, exactly. I know I went on a rant a little bit and you kind of phased out a little bit, but do you have anything to say on that?
No, what's crazy is that I literally had the conversation with my mom this morning, and I asked her the question because like I said, there's so many, I see it on Instagram, and I really think social media is it's becoming so integrated in our everyday lives. We're losing ourselves in the sauce as a whole, to an extent. And I asked her, because my mom had me young too. She had me at 20 years old. And I asked her, I was like, well, how come when you had me, there wasn't any, I see it all the time, all these mom things. My friends are becoming mom. I'm at that age where people are starting to people have been having kids, but now it's the time to have them, quote unquote. And I see, people are just I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm struggling, and all these struggles of being a mom. And then I asked her, and she was like, you know what? And just like you said, it's a support system. She was she said the same thing. Luckily, I had, a support system, our family. My cousin, taught my mom how to bathe me. It was just a support system. And like you said, my mom wasn't that type of person to just, hey, I'm just gonna go out and all that. My grandma was like, I'm gonna take her. Let me take this baby. Go out.
Yeah.
Power off.
Yeah, she definitely comes from a different generation too. So it's funny to see that, because your mom had you in the 90s, and she was she was probably born in the 70s then, yeah.
Yeah.
She was a 70s baby. Yeah. So she definitely had she had the lifestyle that I wish I had. Because being born in the 70s, I wish I was born in the 60s so I could live through the 70s. That's all I ever wanted. I talk to God about it all the time. I be like, God, how come you made me an Asian baby? But yeah, that's like, I mean, I always just say, like, honestly, that's how I kept my sanity. Me and my son have a great relationship. He's 13 now, so it's almost.
Cool, you have
I ain't gonna act like it's perfect. Because that adolescent, y'all hear me. I was bugging the time that he turned 10. Then I was extremely bugging by the time he was 11. So I was just like, I don't know what's happening. He's not my baby anymore. This is not working for me anymore. I don't know how to handle a teenager. It was freaking me out. Like, and I am still a little freaked out. But it's a learning experience, and I love it still. I wouldn't trade being a mom for anything in the world. Like, shout out to all the moms out there.
Shout out to
like,
moms.
Yeah, all the mommies. So yeah, it's just.
Yeah, like it's so cool. It's so dope to see. And yeah, and then like a parent-child relationship, like it evolves throughout time.
Yeah,
it evolves around time, and the relationship, like how you said, like you started freaking out when your baby turned 10, and it was like, oh my gosh. And then you have to usher in new phases. You have to evolve with each other. He's getting older, you're getting older too. Expectation. Right. Certain things are, and then also too, each generation is different from us. Like there's some stuff I don't understand about, your son's generation. I don't get it. Like why are they eating Tide Pods? I don't understand. For what? like
right.
There's just certain things, and that's just how it is when we get older, Yeah. And
it's pretty interesting.
It's crazy, but it's also it's a beautiful process. It's beautiful to see. So beautiful.
It is. Yeah, girl, I can't wait till you get I can't wait. I had posted that. I don't know if you caught that, but it was so funny. I posted that meme on Instagram where it was like, oh, I can't wait in a couple of years. I'm going to pop out with my husband that nobody knows about with my little kid and all that other stuff. I'm like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, but I don't want to wish that on you yet, because I know you a boss. You got some things to conquer. That's another one of my advices always to younger women as well, is that handle your business first, then have the family later. There's nothing wrong with that. I think society definitely tries to put a pressure on us when we should have these babies and all this other stuff. Like, honestly, that will come in time. If it's your time, let God rule that, and you worry about what you're doing now, and that's it. And when life hits you, it will hit you in a different way. But I hope that a lot of people, nowadays, hopefully learning from a lot of the things that we've seen in the last decade, where women are just having all these babies by random people and all this other weird stuff. It's like, I hope that we've learned to kind of maneuver in a way where, we're putting ourselves first, because we inevitably, just like a relationship, we have to take care of ourselves in order to be able to take care of someone else. So I definitely wish you good fortune in the future.
Thank you.
And we are coming up on the end of this show. And one more time, ladies and gents, please check out this phenomenal DJ. She is available for booking as well when the quarantine ends. She be on her IG Live mixing it up. She got the jams, the old school. Oh man, she hits. I'm not just bragging because she's my friend. Like, I really love these people. Like, everybody that I work with in the music underground hip hop world, freaking phenomenal. Like, you guys got to check her out on Hippie Urbane on her IG, aka Star. It's my girl. So yeah, any closing words that you gonna say to my loved ones?
Just, especially during this time in quarantine, take it one day at a time. Let yourself have your good day. Let yourself have your bad day. You just gotta keep moving, keep trucking. Stay wavy. That's my whole thing. Stay wavy, because life it's gonna come. The tide is gonna ebb and flow, but as long as you rock with it, you're solid.
Amen. That was amazing. That is real. So yeah, definitely one day at a time. I love that. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you for great conversation. It was fun. And I love you, girl.
Yeah.
We gotta do this again.